Jerry,
Yes,
can you
I'm
come
here.
in? Okay,
Yes,
yes.
I'm
So,
here.
second question, can you share your strategy for handling unexpected technical issues during live performance? I asked the question before, but Shisa now came on board, so we had to do the first part with him. So, can we move ahead?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, weeks to the event, weeks to not even the event, weeks to the setup. We get to meet at the warehouse. So I tend to personally go to the warehouse to make sure everything goes with me to the venue. And one of the major aspects I don't play with is power. I don't play with power. At some of the events I
Sound is
even
power
get to
dependent, 100%. Sound is
ah
100% power dependent.
yes. So most of my events are done. I tend to run power myself. If I don't run the power, I will make sure I supervise every single line of power. Check, make sure the earthings are okay and all. So coming from a foundation where I had so many issues at the middle of the shows, you just hear something just go off and all of that. I became very sensitive to having to prepare days or weeks ahead of the sound check. The sound check is even it's not even the main event. I get to prepare ahead, like ahead of everything. So firstly we go to the warehouse, we test speakers, make sure they are all good. Of which when we get back to the warehouse after the show, we'll check, but just to double check, make sure everything is working well. The subs are popping, everything is working, DI boxes are working. We load up to the event. So me personally, I work with my instinct. So if my mind tells me, guy, there's this way you come familiar to these things that it will be as if you know that something will go wrong. So you just make arrangements for it. It has happened to me countless times. And so I get to learn from those things, growing into this stage that I am. So when we go to warehouse, if we are making what we have a role at the warehouse for, because the arrays we use are mostly active. So what we do is four arrays to one power cable, a very strong power cable, like a 4-in-1 or a 3-in-1 that carries earth. Four arrays to and the power cable matches. You can take those we can take it for days if the event. So if we are going to fly 12 arrays, we are going to do four separate power. They are going to the same source, like the same one source, but they are going to different ports, different port on the source. So it's like an armored cable to the left, armored cable to the right. Then we pick the sources into arrays and link them 4-4. So that way we could have sufficient power for subs, for tops, for instruments,
Okay.
for
Okay. Sorry for cutting you. Do you understand?
yes, sir.
What we really want
Yes.
to know is what is your troubleshooting protocol? Because what you're telling us now is very, very important. Do you understand? It's like
Yes.
preparation. Do you understand? The things you put in place. But
Yes.
what if after making all these preparations, do you understand? During the live event, something goes wrong. Do you understand? It could be power, it could be signal. Do you understand? It could
Yes.
be amplification malfunction. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
What are the steps to take? What is your troubleshooting protocols to arrest issues that could come up?
Okay, the number one thing I do is to actually be calm. At that point when I'm calm, I'll be able to know if it's power, if it's Cat 6, if it's cable, or if it's RF. So once I know what is wrong, I can now go ahead to fix it. If it's power, our power guy, everybody has to be on standby. So you be on standby. We have extra cables waiting to be used. If it's cable too, we have extra cables. If it's microphones, we have another guy to check the microphones and all of that. But for a
Okay.
case where, eh, because we've had a show and it was Cat 6 and we didn't carry an extra Cat 6, so we had to just shut down that event, move the console to the stage, and just find a way out. You get, those are times where we didn't prepare very, very, very well. But for a show where I have power glitch, my number one, where I have any glitch that might shut down the show, is to be calm, find the solution, solve the problem. If it's power, you know it's power, you solve them. You have a power guy waiting to make sure that problem is solved a very minimal within minimal time. It's sorted.
Okay, thank you very
Yes, sir.
much. You said something, and this thing you just said now happened to us December last year at Owerri Stadium, where we did
Yes, sir.
a Night of Glory. We're having issues with stage box at some point. We lost communication with the Cat 5 system. We had to move the FOH board to stage immediately. Do you
This
understand?
stage.
Because
Yeah.
as a live sound guy, you just have to make it work. You
You have
can't
to,
afford to
yes.
let someone's event that have been planned for weeks and months.
Have been paid
Do you
for, yes.
understand? So much
Yes.
money has been spent. You can't afford to let it make it flop. So you have to make
Yes.
it work. You have to be proactive. So you just need to
Yes.
think of the next line of action and execute
Yes.
with small time. Because let it just be that they
Yes.
had an issue, but
Yes. It was
ability to
sorted.
address that issue in a very short time